everybody, welcome back to our CHAMP series. I just wanted to remind everybody that this presentation in no way seeks to diagnose or treat any illness and not to replace any professional medical care. So be sure to see your doctor if you have any health issues, and if you're experiencing an emergency, please call 911 or go directly to your nearest emergency department. Another thing I wanted to remind everybody is that this presentation is being recorded, and Hamilton and their affiliates may replay this presentation on an ongoing basis for marketing materials or educational purposes. So be sure not to disclose any protected health information because it may no longer be protected by federal privacy regulations. So if you have any specific questions about your child or school-based services, please feel free to reach out to us here at Anna Shaw. You can give us a call at 706-226-8900, or you could send me an email, Lindsay Coker at lcoker@hhcs.org. So I'm happy to introduce Hannah Cannon, who's going to be presenting for us today. So I'm going to stop and hand it over to her.
Hey everyone, my name's Hannah Cannon. I'm a speech pathologist here at Anna Shaw Children's Institute, and today I'll be presenting to you about using visual supports at home. If your child is currently receiving services here at Anna Shaw, chances are you've seen some type of visual being used in your therapy sessions. So we'll talk about how you can create those at home and use them to help your child. Some of our learning objectives for today, you'll learn what visual supports are and why they're important, not only for our children, but in all of our daily lives. You'll also learn about some different types of visuals and how we might use those in different ways. And lastly, how to create and implement your own visuals at home. Okay, let's get started. So firstly, what is a visual? Visual supports are any tool presented visually that support an individual. We all use visuals every day as part of our daily lives. So let's take a look at some visuals you may have used today. What visuals have supported you today? Restroom signs, to-do list. That's one of my favorite visuals in my personal life is to make a visual or to-do list, and then I can mark off the things as I'm able to get those done. We also see lots of visuals in our community, stop signs and lots of safety signs all around. So we're supported by visuals all over, so it just makes sense that they will also support our children. When should I use a visual? There are several different ways and reasons that we might use visuals. Firstly, managing behaviors. If your child is struggling, maybe having lots of tantrums or just feeling lots of frustration throughout the day, we can use visuals to help those behaviors. We can use visuals to teach new skills and also help with following daily routines. Where should I use a visual? Well, we already talked about visuals being used throughout our environment. So really anywhere that your child struggles or maybe showing some anxiety or frustration, you can use a visual. So at home, at the grocery store, at the doctor's office, at grandma's, anywhere you go, you could use a visual. Why are visuals important? I want to show you a couple of pictures, and I think you'll see really easily why visuals are important in our lives. Which bridge would you rather cross? So I have this one, which looks pretty scary. And our second one, there we go. Still may be scary to a few people, but definitely much better than that first picture, right? So let's use these visuals as an example of how our kids might perceive some of the things that we think are easy through the day that may be really difficult for our kids. All right, so our goal is to cross this bridge, and our kids are looking, and what's your response here when you see this? It looks scary. You think, I can't do this. So maybe transitioning away from the tablet to your child may look like crossing this bridge. So, we see these goals, so we say, here's what we're going to do. And then we use lots of words with our kiddos. You need to sit in your chair, use nice hands, look at me, stay on task, work first, then play. So our kids see this, they're hearing lots of things and they're seeing something that looks really difficult and they think that's a lot going on. I just don't think I can do that. So our response to fear and anxiety is often a behavioral meltdown. Okay. Let's look at this in a different way. What if our goal is supported with visuals? So just looking at this, Doesn't that look easier? And we don't have to say all those things. Or even if we do, our child can see an example and they can imitate that more easily. So we are still saying, you need to sit in your chair, look at me, first we'll work and then we'll play. But this looks much easier to follow, much more positive, and can give our kiddos a lot of help that they need and help them think, you know what, I can do this, or I'm willing to try anyway. Okay, so let's talk about some types of visuals. Our first visual is the first and then board. This is really our most versatile visual. If you do nothing else from this, I would suggest the first and then board just to get started. It can be used in so many ways and it's really easy to make and implement. First then boards are best for transitioning. So if your child has trouble, that example of transitioning away from a tablet, you might use a first and then for that. First you play tablet, then it's time to eat dinner. So it can help us with those transitions as well as managing a behavior. Our friend over here has a pro tip for us that if you pair your first and then board with a timer, you will see wonderful results. Okay, so first we'll play magnetic numbers. I'll set my timer for 5 minutes. When the timer goes off, we're all done. Time to play a new game. Okay. Our second type of visual is a schedule. Schedules are best for teaching new skills. So if you're working on potty training, maybe your child has trouble brushing teeth, you can give them that visual of the steps involved, which can help them become more independent and maybe more willing to try new things. We can also use schedules to reduce frustrations during daily routines. Our example at the bottom, so I know our kiddos really don't enjoy going to doctor's appointments. Lots of our kids have lots of doctor's appointments. So to help prepare them for that, we might use a schedule. First, we'll get dressed, we'll go to the doctor, then we'll go by McDonald's and have lunch, and then it'll be time to go home. When we see what's happening in our day, we're often much more comfortable. And we use that as adults too, right? We know we have to go to work and then we get to go home at a certain time. So those are great to use too. Our third type of visual is the token system. And this is best for rewarding positive behavior or practicing a new skill. A lot of times, skills that require a lot of repetition. So your potty training. So when we go potty 5 times, then we'll earn this prize of a motivating activity. So your child can collect what they want to work for, and then when they practice that several times, they can earn that reward. These are used a lot at school too, so you may see them in your classrooms. And our last type of visual is a communication board. And these are best for helping children independently make requests or interact with others before verbal language emerges. So your child is communicating with you already by pulling on your arm, pulling you over to the pantry and reaching up, and then you're kind of guessing what they want or what they need. So we can use communication boards to give them a little more independence. So maybe they could point to the snack they want or select the toy they want to play with, give them some more independence. We also have more advanced communication boards. These are core level boards for our students or children who may be ready to generate some language. I want to play. And then you could help them figure out where you want to go from there. And these also may lead to a higher tech device like a speech generating device if your child hasn't developed verbal language yet. You've probably seen these if your child is receiving some speech services here at Anna Shaw. You've probably seen these in some way. So if you have questions about those, I definitely suggest talking to your therapist about communication boards. Those are our types of visuals. So as we went through those, I hope you were able to identify something that, oh, okay, maybe that would help my child with blank. So now you've thought of an idea, how I can use this at home. So let's figure out what to do next. How can we make them and use them? There are a few steps. Step 1, identify your biggest area of need. And this is where we're going to create our own visual. So we're going back to that to-do list or that list of things. So think about the things that are difficult for your child. We call these non-preferred activities. So what's hard? Transitioning from the tablet, getting ready for bed, going to the doctor. Then make a list of motivators or preferred activities. My child really likes Moana, or my child really loves trains. Make a list of all the things that make them happy. And so here's what that may look like. So you have your non-preferred over here, and that's often the response there, our little friend, when we introduce those non-preferred activities without visuals, is bedtime, giving up tablet, potty training, verbalizing wants and needs. And then we've made our preferred list: tablet, blankie, videos, music, different things like that. So take a few minutes and do that, and then we'll be ready to move to step 2. Step 2 is creating your materials. Now, there are so many ways we can do this, but number 1, tried and true, you can always Google it. If you don't know how to do it, Google it. So our friend at the bottom there gives us some search ideas. You can search for a first then board. If you really are interested in the schedules we talked about, you can just type that into the search. You could also search visuals for autism, and you will have a multitude of things. If you've made your list of motivators and difficulties, you can also just search for your pictures using an image search. So if you're working on bedtime, you can search for a child getting ready for bed on Google Images, and you'll get lots of images that you can kind of copy and paste or use in different ways. If that's not really your style, you just want the whole set pre-made for you, there are definitely those available in multitude also. You can find those through a Google search. You can also use these other 2, Teachers Pay Teachers and Etsy. So you might type in visuals for autism at home. If you added that at home, you could find there's lots of packs. So it's pre-made. It would have a visual template, a first then template, maybe some type of choice board or communication board, and you can just purchase that and download it and print it. Also, some of our kids respond best to photos. So maybe take your phone, snap a picture of their favorite foods, their favorite people, their favorite, the park that they like to go to, the swimming pool. Just take some pictures. You can have those printed pretty cheap at Walgreens or CVS, and you can use those for your visuals. Okay, so once you've selected your visuals, it's time to put them together and make them. 2 of the most important attributes of our visuals are that they need to be portable and durable. So portable means we're going to take them. So I'm going to show my child my visual schedule that we're going to the doctor today, but we're also going to take that into the car with us so that I can refer back to it throughout our day, just to make my child more comfortable. Remember, after the doctor's office, we're going to go to McDonald's. So you always want to be able to carry these around. So at Anna Shaw here, we like to use the plastic folders. You could use a 3-ring binder. I think at the Dollar Tree, you can get the plastic folders that kind of have a slide across the top. Those would be great. So you could just throw everything in there. So portability first, and then durability. If you have been to Anna Shaw, we have lots of laminated things. So everything's laminated so it lasts a long time. And then we like to use Velcro so that we can change out those pictures as we need to. And it gives our kids a way to interact with it and tell us what they're thinking too. So, they may go straight to the McDonald's picture and pull that off. So that they're excited about McDonald's, but then you remind them, but first we have to go to the doctor. You can find a laminator pretty cheap. I think they're around $20 if you wanted to purchase one. You can also have things laminated at like your Office Max or office supply stores, places like that. Or you could speak with your child's therapist here at Anna Shaw, and we can also help with some of those as well, get you started. Okay, so you've created your visuals. Now we're ready to implement. So I want you to really, if you just read step 3, implement with consistency. That is the most important step really in using visuals, is we have to select what we want to do and do it consistently. That's what really causes a change for our children. It makes them feel more comfortable when they realize that we're going to do things the same way from day to day. So make your plan and stick to it. So you've decided we're going to work on our bedtime routine. So we're going to start there, and I've gotten my pictures, I've made my schedule, and we're going to start today. So you introduce it to your child, you establish your expectation by showing them first and then allowing your child to respond. When we introduce visuals, we don't say, 100%. We introduce it the first day and our child doesn't tantrum and they get ready for bed 100%. Expect that your child is still going to struggle at first. That's why it's so important for us to be consistent. Every day at bedtime, I'm going to show you your schedule and we're going to go through it. And I think that you'll see over time that it will get easier and easier for your child and for you. So follow your child's lead, adjust your schedule or your visual as needed, and then add new opportunities as you and your child are ready. So you've mastered bedtime. It's been a couple of weeks now. He's feeling good about it. Let's think of some other times during the day when my child is feeling frustrated, and we'll try to use a new visual during that time. Step 4 is to monitor progress and effectiveness. So stop and ask yourself, again, with consistency. So we've been working on bedtime for a couple of weeks. So stop and just really assess how it's going. Has the desired behavior increased? Okay. So when you say it's bedtime, is your child not tantruming immediately? Or are they looking at you and walking over to get their schedule? So think about small steps in a positive direction. So your desired behavior increased, and has your undesired behavior decreased? And like I said, it may not be overnight. You may not go from meltdown to easy, but you're moving down that ladder. It's getting easier, okay? They're showing less frustration. Also important is, are your visuals still motivating enough? In our example about the doctor's office in McDonald's, maybe your child is not feeling McDonald's today. Maybe you need to find a new activity to keep their motivation and make them become interested in doing that non-preferred activity. And then have my child's interests and needs changed? So just adjust those as needed by creating another visual or just selecting one from the list of preferred activities that you've made. And that is it, everyone. I hope that you learned a lot. I have some free resources here. You can check out those websites. Some of these have some free visuals, others have some free templates. Can also, for additional support, speak with your child's doctor or therapist. You could also shoot me an email here at Anna Shaw, and I'd be happy to help you in any way. So I hope this has been helpful and you're able to implement some new strategies with your kiddos. Thank you.